my heart away from money. I ain't interested in fame, and I pray that never change. Ambition is priceless. It's something that's in your veins, and I put that on my name.
What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Amb, aka Ambitious Abe, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. So my name is Abraham, and I'm a third-year medical student at UT San Antonio Long School of Medicine. The purpose of this YouTube channel is to, one, inspire the up and coming pre-med and medical students, especially minority medical students, because unfortunately there's just not enough of us in this space. And I would like to be that representation that you can either look to or learn from. Also, I would like to inspire and let y'all know that y'all can, everything is possible and you can do whatever you put your mind to. The purpose of this video is for me to share my experience with y'all and kind of tell you a little bit about myself. So if you would have asked me in high school, what are you gonna be doing in 10 years? I never would have thought it would have been being a physician or being in med school or anything like that. So when I applied to college, I went to the University of Texas at Austin. Shout out to the Longhorns. I applied to be in chemical engineering. And the reason I wanted to do chemical engineering is because my uncle was a chemical engineer, and I saw him go from a broke boy to a rich boy because he grew up with us, and I was like, okay, I need that a bit. But unfortunately, I didn't get into the engineering school at UT, and I was stuck in chemistry. But I didn't let that necessarily deter me, because I was like, I'm using this as motivation, keep my head up, keep my grades up as well, and hopefully try to transfer internally. So when it was time to transfer internally, my Cal 3 credits actually came a week late, and I would have had to wait a whole nother semester to transfer into the engineering school. And I realized I had no true passion for engineering. So I had to sit down and look within myself, what do you really want to do with your life? And the answer, if I could do anything I wanted to do, I'd be in the NBA. But unfortunately, that's a far-fetched reality. So because I love sports, I was like, okay, I think it would be cool to be a sports doctor. The thing about it is, I took biology 1 my first semester, and it was a terrible experience, and I was like, okay, biology doesn't make sense, and the thought of med school just didn't make sense to me. So whenever I Googled how to be a sports doctor, and I seen it was 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school, residency, and then sports medicine fellowship, I was like, damn, I don't know if I really want to do that. But I was like, okay, let me try and take biology 2 and see how that experience is. So my sophomore year, I took Bio 2, and it was a much better experience. My junior year, I took genetics and biochemistry, and I realized that I actually enjoy what I'm learning, and I was also pretty good at it. So I was like, okay, maybe this med school route is for me. One thing I do want to emphasize is that I didn't necessarily know what I was doing, but I legitimately believe that God ordained this path for me, because there's certain things, certain blessings that I just don't deserve and just kind of fell into place. For example, when I took my MCAT, I ended up taking my MCAT in January, but my original plan was to take the MCAT in the summer of my junior year. And if you know anything about the process, especially being in Texas with the Texas medical and dental application, the earlier you get your application in, the better. And you want a complete application finished and sent in. So if you're taking your MCAT in July, you're already behind the ball, because thousands of students have already submitted their applications in June, and those are already starting to get reviewed. So my friend Kennedy, shout out to brother homie, he encouraged me. He was trying to tell me take the MCAT in January, take it in January. I was like, chill, bro, you're forcing. But he then brought it to my attention that the MCAT was changing from a 4-hour exam to an 8-hour exam, and it just didn't make sense to take an 8-hour exam when you could take a 4-hour exam. So I ended up taking the last administered old MCAT in January, and to the glory of God, I did well. So that whole spring semester of my junior year, I was using it to I used that semester to get my letters of recommendations in order, to write my personal statement and all the other essays, because quite frankly, they don't really change. And I was also trying to fill in the weak spots in my application. So that semester, that's when I started shadowing, and that's when I started applying for a health internship for that following summer. And when I say God's hand was placed on my life, for example, how I even got my shadowing experience, I was a tutor, and one girl that I was tutoring in Algebra 1, her dad ended up being a physician. You see what I'm saying? And I hit him. I was like, hey, do you mind if I, come and shadow you? We did all the paperwork, and I built that relationship, and I got to shadow him just on the text, like, hey, are you in the hospital today? And I got to shadow him around. So that's when I got my shadowing hours. Also, my internship experience that I had, I ended up doing a program at UTMB. But crazy enough, the program was designed for like smaller schools like PV, TSU, not necessarily the big schools like UT, A&M, etc. But I applied anyway because I legitimately believe you miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot. So if I applied and I didn't get in, then I was stuck in the same place. But if I applied and I did get in, then that's a blessing. And I got in, and I had that to put on my application as well. So you know what I'm saying? Like, my medical school experience or my journey here is just like, okay, like, I didn't necessarily know what I was doing, but it kind of just worked out for me. So the purpose of this video is I want to encourage and motivate and let everyone watching this video that if you have a plan, if you know what you're doing, if you have a good mentor, there's absolutely nothing to stop you back or hold you back from getting to medical school. And not only getting to medical school, because that's not the end all. Like, once we get to medical school, we're gonna eat in medical school. You know what I mean? Like, I'm blessed enough to say that my first 2 years went well. And I also, to the glory of God, did well on my United States medical licensing examination. And I'm gonna make a couple videos about my med school, like first and second year experience, as well as how I prepared and how I studied for the United States medical licensing examination. But I really just want to challenge everyone watching this video that if you are interested in medicine, then you should definitely pursue it, and you are capable of doing it and doing well. I tell when I talk to students, especially my brothers, from back home, I tell them if you can memorize a whole mixtape from 10 years ago, if I dropped Carter 3 right now, you phone home Wheezy, you know what I'm saying? You could still hit it. So that means you have the neuronal capacity to hold and regurgitate information. Does that make sense? So you then have to channel that into your academic pursuits, whether it's medicine, nursing, dental, whatever. You can memorize whatever you tell your brain to memorize. The human body is pretty spectacular. Also want to let y'all know that I'm open to making videos on whatever subjects y'all are interested in. If I can talk about it, if I have life experiences about it, then I'm happy to share with y'all. So that's my first video. Thank y'all for tuning in. If y'all can, share, subscribe, and let's rock this journey together. Thank you.
They gon' love me for my ambition. Easy to dream a dream, though it's harder to live it. They gon' love me for my ambition.